everybody, welcome back to Florida Exotic Fish Sales. We're out here on the farm. We're dressed up in our cold weather gear because it was 65 today, and for us down here that means we're layered up, which I know everybody up north is laughing at us, but we don't care. But anyway, I thought what we'd do is talk about second part of how we got to where we are today. And where I left off is we'd had 5 or 6, it's hard to remember exactly how many shipments we had gotten into Tallahassee from Peter Davies. But like I said, he was shipping to us directly. There was 2 other people at the time, but they were getting their fish through Europe, so we were pretty lucky just to even get fish from it. But the types of fish was not changing. Maybe we wouldn't get something one time, but we weren't getting anything new. So after these 5 or 6 shipments, our customers are going, can we get anything new? We know there's a lot of other fish in the lake, so what about it? So we talked to Peter about it, say, hey, that time there was no emails, no faxes, no nothing. It was all phone calls, weird hours. And he kind of was saying, well, maybe, maybe not. But we thought, okay, well, maybe we'll go to the lake and talk him into it. So we'd both graduated in early '73. So we decided, well, we're off and running. So I was 24, I think Andy was 26. So we hopped on a plane, flew to London, spent a couple days there, flew into Blantyre, spent the night, picked up a car, and little teeny, small, I don't even know what they called them then, very small car. So we get to Monkey Bay, and it's in the evening, and we couldn't get to him till the next day, so we were too late to get room, and that's another story we can talk about another time. But the next day, we had a luncheon set up with him, so we drove to his place. Now, he was shipping out, and his base was out of Cape Maclear. Very lovely drive out there. Believe it or not, there were hills and almost many mountains, and here went over the top of the hill, and there was a lake, or his portion of the lake. It was more like I would say an inlet, and then the lake was out there. But beautiful, just beautiful, and after getting these fish all these couple of years, seeing where they came from was really pretty amazing. So we were kind of, amazed. And we were kind of going to see a guy that, was like a legend because he was it. He was the only one in the lake. And so here we go. Peter Davis Eye is named after him, which is the Hoosier Eye, Midnight Peacock. So here we go. We're going to his place, and we're going there 2 young kids, barely had enough money to do what we were doing anyway. And we were trying to talk him into doing something he didn't want to do and had not done for anybody else. So we get there, he provided a lovely lunch, and then his son took us diving, and jumping in the water there, first time on a bunch of rocks, and swimming down the rocks, and then seeing the fish as you came closer and closer, and then when you got there, they were gone. They were in the crevices. So that right there was even a significant thing to see. So then we head back to his place, and we not really talked business. So we said, well, what do you think about, we really think this could go somewhere, but we've got to get more variety. We just have to do it. So my mouth is dry. Can I take a sip? This is after hours again. This is my Guy Harvey shirt. This is my wife over here drinking when I'm drinking like she's doing something. Say hi. So anyway, we hit him up and said, listen, can you do it? He said, well, you know what? I just don't. He was almost saying, I don't need to. If there was 4 or 5 of us, I don't need to. So we said, well, can you think about it? And we're going to be here for several more days, and we'll come back and talk to you tomorrow. He said, sure, come on back. So we came back the next day. And by the way, his facility was very nice. And he shipped, we didn't know at the time because he was our first shipper. We didn't realize what a good job he did. He had it down. I mean, he knew chemicals, he knew quantities per bag, he knew duration in the bag. I mean, he knew X amount of hours to pack, to get it to Blantyre to London, through Nairobi. It really didn't stop, just stop, boom, on the same plane, BOAC. London over to us, and then Eastern to Tallahassee. So he knew it, and I mean, he was good. So, and his facility was nothing like we saw a couple of places in Tampa when we picked up aquariums. His facility was basic, some holding facility, a little bit of holding facilities, not like these things, but more handmade. And then he had his, divers were in there, and his boxes and everything were all set up. Very nice setup. Yeah, it was done well. So we came back the next day. We're thinking, oh man, we were charming, we were good, we were great, man. We were really whatever. And he's going to say, you know what, for you guys, I'm going to go get the rest of the lake. Well, he said, no, we can't do it. I won't do it. It's too. I'm sending my divers out as far as I want to send them in the lake. So, I just won't do it. So anyway, we went back and spent the night in Monkey Bay. We didn't know what else to do. Like I said, we had several more days. So we decided to drive back into Blantyre because there was really nowhere else to go. Did a little sightseeing on the way back and hit Blantyre. So we figured we were pretty much done with the African cichlid part of our business, our multi-international business we were trying to do. And that was going to be the main part of our business because very few people were doing it. Plenty of people were doing saltwater, plenty of people were doing other things, but nobody was doing African cichlid. So we get to Blantyre and we're decided to walk around town, see what Blantyre was all about. And lo and behold, walk up to a place, look in the window and say, oh, whoa, this pet shop, goldfish and everything. Let's just go in there, see what's going on. Walk in there, looking at mollies and guppies and goldfish, and I'm thinking, oh, what's the matter with this in the middle of the best place in the world for the coolest fish in the world? This guy's got guppies and goldfish. And hit the back of the store, and whammo, there it was. There was just, it was like our hearts went, holy mackerel. If we could, what is this guy doing? Where did he get them? I mean, who sent them to him? He didn't get them sure didn't get them from Peter Davies. So who is this guy? What is it? At the time, there was I can't remember who was working in the shop. I think it was a woman. And we said, "What? Can you tell us a little about this fish in the back?" "Oh yeah, these are fish from the lake." "Well, yeah, we know that, but where did you get them?" "Well, we collected them." "Well, what do you mean you collected them? How did you do that?" "Well, I think she said my husband or the owner or somebody has a license for the lake." And I said, "You're kidding me." I said, "Nope." And about that person was Eric Fleet. And we said, okay, we're going to be here a couple more days. What's the chances of us meeting with him? And she said, I'll let him know. He works out at the hydroelectric plant. He was one of the main guys running the show there. She said, I'll let him know that you're in town. Where are you staying? Told us where we're staying. And he called us and said he'd like to meet with us. And that right there is, I guess, what really took us over from where we were and where we could be to where we wanted to be. So that was the actual beginning of the big part of, at that time, Tally Imports.
Now, was this guy actually doing exporting, or was he just like a local store that was carrying local fish?
He was a man that apparently through his connections through the hydroelectric plant had obtained a license for the majority of the lake, plus a little small lake at the south end of Lake Malawi and the river, and he had it. They gave it to him. He had the license. And so he had put together a few collectors, and he had brought these fish in the shop. His intention was to sell them to the locals, and I could see why he had, he was importing the goldfish and the guppies and everything for the people in town who probably didn't really care about the fish in the lake. They wanted a nice little easygoing tank. But he brought these in thinking, well, maybe some of them will be interested in them and I'll sell them. So what we did was just say, do you ship? And he said absolutely, had never done it. So now the thing became, well, what do we do? You know, will you try to ship? And then his question was, can you show me how? And we said, we will do our best to, and but you have to get your supplies, you have to get your act together. Your facility here is not going to hold your fish for holding before you ship them. So you're going to have to come up with all that on yourself. But yes, we will definitely work with you, and we will buy your fish. So that's how it kind of.
So the trip kind of did an about face.
Oh,
really.
it went from sad eyes to happy eyes, you know. And he was a very nice man. You know, Peter was older and more reserved, and Eric was more, I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go the whole lake, you know. And it's kind of interesting. Within 6 months of us getting home, Peter Davies was gone. He was out of the lake. He had to leave for some reason. So we were very lucky that we made the trip, and very lucky that we made that little walk around town. It was amazing, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long after your time visiting there were you able to get a first shipment from this other company?
I would say that it took him 2 months to get his supplies together. He was able to find out where Peter got his shipping materials, and we were able to help him out with some of the chemicals he needed. And then all it was a matter of was trying over the phone to tell him how to purge the fish. From what we knew from Peter, quantities per bag. The fact that he was right there in Blantyre, it cut off the trip from Cape Maclear by truck to Blantyre, so that cut some hours off. We didn't tell him to pack more though. We figured that these first few shipments, just keep the numbers as Peter did, because there'll be some mess ups on your end, and we don't want you to say, hey, he's putting 25 fish per bag, you put 30 because you're knocked off 4 hours. So we didn't do that. We just sell them what we knew about Peter. What we knew the numbers were, we told him about Peter. And we told him sizing, you know, if you're this size fish, this is what you do. So, you know, we started getting, I think about 2 or 3 months, we got our first shipment. And I'm not going to tell you it was the best shipment in the world, but it was a good start. And he was willing to learn, and he was willing to try. So it worked out good.
That's awesome. And was he fishing in the same areas that Peter was, or was he?
He had the whole lake.
Oh, so the entire.
Yeah, I think it was a small portion lake he did not have. Maybe Mozambique, they wouldn't have the Mozambique side of it, but he had the entire lake, and so he could go anywhere he wanted. He was not set up to go too far from his place where he would go out of. And a lot of the fish, I found out later, the Morii and the Linii and the stuff were coming out of this river, the south end is where he was getting those. On another trip there, I got to actually travel around with the divers and found out where the fish were coming from. But he was setting up, and once he started shipping us, he was ready to go. He was ready to go wherever he had to go. And so that's when we started getting in all the fish that no one knew about, no one had seen, and that started that.
Excellent. All right, Rick, well, thanks so much for sharing with us the next part of the story. We can't wait for the next one, which is, I guess, going to be you heading to South Florida to start the big farm down here.
Yep, that's it. So that was probably in 74 and a half. So we'll talk about that. So hey, everybody, glad you're here. Glad you saw it again. With us again. Comment to us and like us and subscribe. And hope to see you next time. See you later.
All right, thanks, Rick.